You know what I be making my kids watch at bedtime? Because all this YouTube shit, all this wild shit, with my kids, I go, you got one option. You can either shut the TV off or you watch Little House on the Prairie.
Oh, my God. I'd shut the TV off real quick.
Hell yeah.
I'd shut it off.
I'm
going to sleep, Dad.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the coastline of Connecticut and welcome to the Shorecast with your host, Apathy.
Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Apathy. This is my co-host, Al Mayo. You are now watching the Shorecast, and today we have an amazing, special, legendary guest, the amazing Mikey Destruction, Mikey D,
Mikey
Queens
D.
King, in the building.
We outside,
What's
baby.
up, my brother?
What up, baby?
Great to
Big
have
Al,
you
what
here,
up?
What's up, my brother? How you doing?
Yo, man, it's a pleasure and honor to be here.
Pleasure having you. Thank you for coming.
Man, I'm amongst the greats. What?
We're amongst the greats.
No.
You.
Yo, Mikey showed up, and we were having like issues with the lighting in here because the sun was cutting in a weird way. Mike is an absolute gentleman for hanging out during the process. We had good food.
Oh, yeah,
we
man.
shared stories.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? We did a lot, so it was dope. But now we're here. We rocking.
And now
we
we
here.
family. We family now.
Absolutely.
We broke bread. We hung out. We're family.
And they gave me a key. So I can get in now. So we good.
Good.
Yo, plus y'all look like brothers anyway. Light-skinned brother with hazel eyes. You know what I'm saying? So
Light-skinned brothers with the hazel eyes.
Oh, there we go.
They be hating on us.
sometimes it bees like that. Yo, so here's the thing. Here's an interesting thing, and this is what I wanted to say too, right? So my introduction, and nobody out there in the motherfucking comments or anywhere better try to come at me or shame me for this. My introduction to Mikey D was Main Source, right?
Okay.
And that was the introduction, and I'll tell you why. I'm 46 years old, right? When you were popping and you're doing your legendary shit and you are living the life of that royal status, right? I'm a kid, and there's no internet at the time. And also, you know what it was like? It was a lot tougher with hip hop publications, and it was a lot tougher for everybody to get real stories and what was going on. So during that time period, I know about you now through retrospect, through the internet, through doing my homework and listening to that for like the last 20 years, what you've been doing. But in the initial shit, I got robbed of that experience.
Right.
Do you run into a lot of people like that who are hip hop heads?
Yeah, absolutely, man. It's always definitely the Main Source thing was their introduction. I mean, you know what I mean? Not knowing. And how old are you? You're 46,
46, right.
And it's crazy. I'm going on 47 years of rapping.
Right,
Damn.
right.
You know what I'm saying? I'm going on 47 years of rapping. So during the 80s, I was already out there doing my thing at a high level.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
So you started around 79, 80?
I started rapping in 79.
Wow.
Probably like the summer of 79.
Who was your inspiration?
My inspiration to get me to start rap, Grandmaster Caz.
Nice.
Grandmaster Caz. My boy D Money, his grandmother lived next door to me in Laurelton, Queens, and he lived in Harlem. So D Money has an older brother that we call him Mike Action. Mike Action used to go to these events, you know what I mean? So this particular summer, D Money dipped into Mike Action's shoebox of tapes, and he bought this tape around the way, and we outside listening to the Cold Crush Brothers. Damn. So after hearing Grandmaster Caz, and I remember him spitting that Yvette rhyme, I went next door to the crib, and I wrote my very first rhyme called Kim, and it was designed after the blueprint of Grandmaster Caz's rhyme. So that was it. I was off to the races from then on.
That was a huge motivator. And the thing I love about the 80s hip hop is there was a lot of records about girls. There was a lot of records about partying and having fun. Now it's like everybody is trying to show how fucking ill and serious they are and how much they don't care and how evil they are, or how much weight they move or this or that.
Yeah.
I feel like that essence is gone. There's very few artists who are about partying and having fun, and even the underground artists who are phenomenal and really dope lyricists who I like, who I work with. There's not many people who are having fun, bro.
Yeah, facts. That's because it's monetized now. It's corporate. You know what I mean? It's not.
Exactly.
A lot of people get it mixed up. They think the rap genre is hip hop,
Right.
which is it's not true.
It's not the same
The
thing.
rap genre is the corporation. It's the corporate, the record labels and the music industry and all of that. Hip hop, when
It's a
we
culture.
were MCing, it was definitely a culture. There was no rappers and all of that. It was MCs. And originally we were the DJs, hype man. You know, so once it got snatched from under our noses, come on, hip hop was created by a bunch of young cats.
Right.
They didn't have business savvy and they didn't know what was going on once everything became popular and the records were being made. We didn't know that it was going to do that. You know what I'm saying? So
I've heard some people recently, some younger people say hip hop was designed to be some socio-political backlash to not having things and being economically destitute and taking back the power. And I'm like, yo, it wasn't that deep. It was party music. It was having fun.
we couldn't get into the discos. So we did the discos outside in the parks. Right. You know, that's what these guys was doing. All right, they don't want our music in there or whatever. We're going to bring that equipment outside, hook it up to the street lights, and we're going to do our thing. You know what I'm saying? We're going to create our own party.
The outside rap, too. Outside in the park.
Oh, yeah. I was out there doing it in the park. I was there. You feel me? So, yeah, man. So, you know.
The park jams were crazy. Did the park jams have a long shelf life where cops coming to shut them down all the time?
Not all the time. Not in the beginning, man. They used to let that rock. They used to let it rock, man, until the neighbors started complaining. You know what I mean? Because, we would be in the parks until 1 o'clock in the morning. About 2:31, we'd be out there until like 1 in the morning. But there wasn't that many houses around the park.
Right.
They started building houses, and then people started complaining about the music being too loud. That's when the cops first started coming out, and then they started getting a little violent. You know what I mean?
Right.
People started bringing their issues from the neighboring neighborhoods into these park jams and taking their frustrations out. And that's when the cops was really heavy, you know.
So when it first started out, it wasn't really like that.
Man, it was all love. It was an experience, B.
Right.
It wasn't no drama or none of that. This is like, the park jams was me being in the park jam was like graduating from the basement parties.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Because we used to have these basement parties first when the parents used to go away and the children used to make these invites on their index cards, and it'd be 50 cents for the men to get in and 10 cents for the ladies, or sometime they'd be in free. But we used to rock the microphone in those parties.
To get the crowd hype.
Yeah, just to get the crowd hype. And the DJ was the most important piece of the whole thing.
He was the ace back in the day.
Yeah.
I think that because of my age, because I was a little boy and I remember so much about the 80s, I know how it felt and I know the organic feeling, but I almost feel now that when young people, and it's just, once again, no fault to the young people, you can't help when you're born, but I think that a lot of people who didn't live it struggle to grasp the concept of what the 80s felt like, because when they view it as a caricature of itself by TV, by movies. So they think everybody had a fucking Adidas suit and, shell toes on and shit like that. 80s wasn't like that. 80s was very mishmash. You just made the best out of what you got. That's not saying everybody didn't, some people didn't have that shit.
No doubt.
But a lot of the guys who dressed super duper fly were hustlers.
Absolutely.
Right? Scramblers and shit.
Well, actually, I wouldn't even say hustlers. Well, it was a mixture.
Okay.
I gotta give credit to the 5% Nation.
Okay. What? Cleaning up?
They were fly. The gods, the earths, they was fly. The gods, they're the ones that used to rock the Kangos and the mock necks and the alpacos that went over the mock necks and the plaids and the French cuts and all of that.
Right.
That dress code came from the gods, B. You know what I'm saying? And the hustlers was getting money, so they had a nice dress code to them too. That's what people would rap about. They was rapping about what the hustlers was doing. You know what I'm saying? Back then, we was rapping about what we saw. Nowadays, they rap about what they do.
I heard in that era too. Yeah. Right. I heard in that era too. The God body, everybody was really strict. You had to be on point.
Yeah. Actually, if you think about it, that's where rappers and hip hop got that word cipher.
Cipher.
From the gods and earths.
Right.
Because they used to build in ciphers.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So once we, the hip hoppers started doing their thing, we called that a cipher.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Because the gods coined that phrase, right?
Exactly.
Right.
And they were strict. They were knowledge of self. You know what I'm saying?
You got to know today's mathematics. You get tested.
Yeah. Your 1-20s and all of that, man. I remember all that, man. So that's where I came up, man. Word.
That was fascinating learning all that because obviously, I wasn't in that. And it was fascinating learning that mostly from hip hop at first, right? Like, you go through these degrees, you hear Lord Jamar on All for One, going through everything.
Going through it.
And then, all these guys, a lot of the rappers rep that back in the day.
Shit.
And if anything, just from an outsider, you just knew it was important. And it was something that was deep and something that was important. And then learning from my OGs and different people is fascinating. But what do you think the impact of Nation of the Gods and the Earths was on certain areas and certain hoods? What was that like for them?
Yo, it was the cool thing. You feel me?
Popular.
To be a god. I was even God, and they called them 5%ers. I was 5% nation in the 7th grade. They called me Supreme Allah. You know what I mean? But anyway,
right.
it was just so dope because the lessons you learned so much. The discipline was there. We couldn't eat pork and all of that. So I'm glad none of the gods is watching right now because I'd probably get a universal beatdown because
you had some pork?
I had some pork. I lived with Nana and my granddad, and
you gotta have some pork.
They cooked pork, but it was just the dress code, the discipline. Everything, it was just dope.
The knowledge of self, the power. It empowered.
And there was unity in that community.
Right.
There wasn't no drama. This is pre-crack era.
Right.
Before crack hit, everybody was on one page. They were all on the same page.
Well, in the early
moving
90s,
as one unit.
I remember in the early 90s, we were Black Pride. We'd wear the African medallions.
Right.
We were all in that. Early 90s that was big. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Not anymore.
Right. Well, prior to that, you got to remember, 85 until the 90s, crack was running wild. So there was a lot of murder, a lot of, best friends becoming worse enemies. And, even the gods in the earths, some of the gods started hustling. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And some of the gods was on the other side of the hustling coin as the buyer, you feel me? So things just started going crazy. It's funny you mentioned the 90s because once the 90s came around, we started to unite again, but not as gods and earths, but the red, black, and green. You know what I'm saying? That's what brought us together.
Correct.
And stuff like that. So yeah, man.
I talk about that a lot. I talk about me growing up during the pro-black era, the Afrocentric era, and me being a white man, my appreciation for the culture was through the roof. And I think that was a really important time because that's what made things universal. You know what I'm saying? Like me as a person, there's so many different cultures I appreciate. You know what I'm saying? So Asian cultures and all these different cultures. And then black culture was such an important thing. American black culture was such a powerful, important thing. And then the connection, the Afrocentric connection, it was all really dope. And that time period, the knowledge was so elite.
Yeah.
I just played Jungle Brothers, I think it's Respect Your Past. We had a Vinny Mojica singing the reds for the black, the reds for the blood, the greens for the land, and the black is the color that stands for the man.
Yes,
right. Yeah. And I was playing that for some young people on one of my lives, and they were like, "Wow, I never heard nothing like this before." Mm-hmm. They're in their 30s, and I just think that was such a powerful thing, and I love when music was at that time period. You had X-Clan, Poor Righteous Teachers, Public Enemy, Tragedy, you had Intelligent Hoodlum, you had Def Jeff, you had all these different guys, Divine Styler, everybody really dropping gems and dropping knowledge.
Yeah, that's facts.
I miss that. Jungle Brothers, Native Tongues.
And now we have
dope.
Sexy Red and shit.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. It took a turn.
A big turn.
I'm not going to say for the worse or for the better, but it just took a dramatic turn. It went left, you know.
Right.
But that's the industry.
It is.
That's the money maker.
That's not the culture.
They went to
the
where the money was.
Absolutely.
That's the machine.
The machine.
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
What year did you start LA Posse?
1986, 85.
Damn, you old.
85. Yeah. And getting
What an
older.
honor.
And getting older.
My
You know
brother,
what I'm saying?
I said that with respect. Damn.
Hey, that's a fantastic. You're on the right side of the dirt, bro. That's a fantastic thing. Anybody says I'm old, I'm like, yes, thank you very much. I am
I
old.
made it, Mom. I made it. You know
Right.
what I mean?
Did.
But LA Posse, like 1985, going into 86.
Why did you guys call yourself LA Posse?
Well, because we're from Laurelton.
Okay,
So Laurelton, Queens, anybody in Queens, if you ask where Laurelton is at, they're going to say, oh, you're going to L.A. Okay, L.A. is this way, blah, blah, blah. So originally, we were Boom Bash.
that was your group.
That was the crew that I
Right.
ran with. It wasn't my crew. It was a crew that I ran with.
That's a dope name, by the way.
Boom Bash, let me tell you what these brothers was about. I'm talking about these dudes started in Laurelton. It was about 20 young men that got into physical health. You know what I'm saying? So these dudes started lifting weights, doing exercises, and I'm talking about everybody was built like, you know what I mean? I was still a little skinny twerp, but I had a big mouth and I was rapping. So wherever,
So Boom Bash was more than a hip hop crew.
Boom Bash wasn't even a hip hop group. Boom Bash was the protectors of Laurelton.
Okay.
Boom Bash was not a gang, but they protected the hood. They made
Right.
the hood look good. If there was beef or anything, Boom Bash was handling that. Now, when I'm rocking out in the parks and all of that, because I'm from Laurelton and I'm a little spitter, rapper, or MC, Boom Bash would come to every event that I was at. So people thought I had security with me, which I kind of did.
Yeah, right.
Right.
It
feel
sounds
me?
like it.
So as time went on, before we was making records, when we got signed to our first label, Boom Bash, the activity was a little deeper in the streets. They knocking people out and you know what I'm saying? So the label didn't think that Boom Bash was a good idea for the name of the group. You know what I'm saying? They thought it was like a liability.
Right.
Okay, cool. Now, we had to come up with another name.
What was the label?
First label was Public Records. Public. Public Records.
Right.
Cheesy.
Walter Scalarup, shout out, Arthur Armstrong. But so we thought, we gotta change the name. What? All right, what about LA Posse? Because back then we used to say posse.
Posse was right,
Your
yeah.
crew was your posse.
Exactly.
We're from LA, Laurelton. LA Posse.
Posse.
It's still Boom Bash. It's just a different name. You know what I mean? And myself, the legendary producer Paul C. McCasty,
Rest in peace.
and DJ Johnny Quest. We were the faces. You know what I mean? So we started making records and all of that, and the rest is history.
Where was Paul C at when you guys started the group? Where was he at notoriety-wise?
Paul was still doing music in his garage.
Okay, so Paul hadn't made his break
He
yet.
didn't make his break yet. Nah, he was doing music out of the garage, man. Eddie O.J. and Will Seville from the Clientele Brothers walked me and Johnny Quest over to Rosedale from Laurelton, which is about a mile walk. We walked to his house. They wanted us to meet Paul. Get there. We hear the music coming out of the garage. You know what I mean? The beat banging like O's. So now here comes Paul C. coming out the garage, and I'm tripping like no effing way. Because it's a white dude that looked so innocent. And
Right.
at this time, that was unheard of. The only white boys that we knew that was dealing with hip hop was the Beastie Boys.
Yeah, right.
And Rick
Yeah.
Rubin, you know.
Yep.
We never saw it outside of that. You feel me?
Right.
And here comes Paul. Innocent and the whole nine. You know what I mean? But he had this ear. And like a lot of people's introduction to Paul C was for his engineering ability, because he had that ear. He could engineer really well. People didn't know he could produce as well.
Right.
So we had him down with us because we felt that he's the dopest producer and he's white. So we were like, yeah, he's with us. He's a dope producer. Johnny Quest was a dope DJ and I was a dope MC at the time. So we were at that time the best in our, in our zones.
Right.
And we collaborated and that's how that went down. And this was before he went to 1212.
Right,
to the studio. Yeah.
Right. That's crazy, man. I hear so many stories from Monch about Paul C at 1212.
Yeah.
How long were you guys a group before he was murdered?
85 to 89. We were just finishing up our LA Posse album. And he got murked in 89.
Do you remember hearing the news?
I remember hearing the news, man. Somebody called me. It might have been Will Seville. And then I remember the cops coming to the crib, questioning and all of that. You know what I'm saying? And it was just crazy. Like
they were hitting everybody because that's the one thing I've universally heard from anybody. They left no stone unturned. They were talking to every person. They was coming to everybody, B. That was like, that was the first time I've ever been questioned by the police. I didn't know, like, what you mean? You're trying to make it like I did it. You know what I mean? But nah.
Damn.
It was crazy, man. It was heartbreaking because Paul wasn't that type of person. You know what I'm saying? And these guys, or whoever did it, went in his crib and killed this man when he was asleep. Like, how you kill a man in his sleep?
Do you?
Brutal.
I know you probably. I know you probably don't know, but do you think it was something sinister, or do you think it was something light, like maybe somebody was trying to rob him and caught him? You know what I mean?
I don't think it was either one of the two. I really don't have the answer.
Right. I understand.
I don't have the answer to that. You know what I mean?
I think everybody wants to know that.
Yeah, because he wasn't into nothing.
Right.
I be hearing stories and all of that, but I'm like, Ninja, I was there. What you talking about? He was around us. So it's just crazy. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think people, if you guys out there, if you haven't heard of the legendary Paul C, I could do a whole podcast just about him. You need to look up his impact. You need to look up what he produced and how heavy it is, what we're talking about, and how heavy of a loss that was. Some of my favorite production from him was, I told you, Eric B. and Rakim, Let the Rhythm Hit Him, was one of my favorites, and Large Pro was up in here in the studio at one point, and he was telling me, it was interesting because Large Pro did some of those beats. People weren't credited, Large.
He finished up that album.
Right. He finished up that album. And then shout out to my brother Anton Pushansky.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Anton.
He engineered.
Yeah, he engineered. And then they had him mix Let the Rhythm Hit Him. They gave him 48 hours to mix that record. So he had to mix it from start to finish in 48 hours, Let the Rhythm Hit Him. They needed it under the crunch, and Anton did it, which is batshit crazy to think about that.
Shout out to Anton. Boy.
And then think about those days, right? You got analog. It's not like today you click a whole bunch of shit.
Man, you had to spice those damn reel-to-reels. And,
damn.
back then, I had to definitely be a one-take wonder because I didn't want Paul C to cut his damn fingers off. Man.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I had to make sure I ran through that correctly. No edits and all of that. But, Paul was...
What was his demeanor? What was Paul like as a person? I hear about his hip hop impact, but I never hear about who
he
Paul
was
like.
Soft-spoken, friendly as hell, and just quiet. He didn't hang around a bunch of people. He was happily married, you know what I'm saying? And he was just super duper cool. Just somebody mellow and just always cool. I never saw him angry. You know what I'm saying? I never saw him wilding out. Always laid back and just cool and a humble guy.
Did you have a moment when he passed? Like, fuck, man. Like, what's the next step?
Well, I had to take a step back from the hip hop game, point blank. Period.
At that time, because of that.
Yeah, 89. That happened to him at the same time we were going through a lawsuit with Sleeping Bag and Def Jam because the other LA Posse came out, and because we're young, me and Johnny Quest is young, so we don't understand the business, and I know we had the name first and all of that, but we never trademarked it, or you know what I'm saying? We never did the proper steps to keep the name. And
Right.
now these other guys come out, and the next thing you know, we're getting sued for the name and all of that. So
I was going to ask you about that because LA Posse, LA.
right. So what wound up happening in 1989, we were just about finished our album. We had a few more mixes and stuff to do. So Paul C wound up, becoming deceased. And then at the same time, we were going through this lawsuit between Sleeping Bag fighting with Def Jam for the name LA Posse, because
Is that Will Sokoloff?
Will Sokoloff, and
Sleeping
Rick. I mean, wait a minute, Ron Resnick,
Resnick, right.
Juggy, and
Yeah.
all of them. Yeah. So the other LA Posse from California, these guys were working on LL's album or whatever. Mind you, we was already doing our thing. We was out there popping before we got with Sleeping Bag. These guys is new on the block. And they even said in one of their interviews that Jam Master Jay gave them that name one time when they came to New York and they were riding along the major FDR Drive. You feel me? Yeah. But we already out there bubbling, so it was crazy. But Sleeping Bag didn't have the money or the power to fight a label like Def Jam, because Def Jam just got under the Columbia umbrella. So they had major backing and stuff like that. So they wanted us to give up the name, and and then gangster rap was coming in to play at the same time, and I just had enough. My daughter was born. Life was just lifing, man.
So you guys just dropped it?
Dropped it, and I got out of town, man.
Word? Damn. You left New York?
Yeah, I left New York and went down to Miami.
Wow. How long was that for?
I stayed down there. I went down there in 89, and I came back when Hurricane Andrew chased my black ass out of there.
Like 93?
92. It was like 92, man. Hurricane Andrew was a beast, you know what I mean? So I flew out a week before that sucker hit and never went back to Miami until recently.
Damn.
I'm telling you, B. So, yeah, I had to take a break, man. I had to get a mental rest, a change of everything, man. It was just too much going on. But I kept the sword sharp.
How did that feel? Was it a culture shock being in Miami compared to
Absolutely,
New York?
man. I went down there, the Miami bass music was kicking.
DJ Magic Mike.
And Luke Skywalker.
Luke, right.
They was killing it. We actually lived about a block and a half away from Markie.
Wow.
From the Two Live crew. And me and my partner, TC, we called him CeeLo then, we wound up living with Eric Griffin. Eric Griffin was one of the producers, and they actually shot a bunch of the Two Live crew videos there with the girls in the pool and all of that.
Damn.
So it was a wonderful thing living there at the time, but we didn't really let people know we were from the New York hip-hop scene, because at this time, Miami bass music was popping. They wasn't really feeling cats from New York. So we started a group called No Strings Attached. I was Cordless Mike, had my partner CeeLo, and we just started rapping like the guys down there.
Oh, word.
It was an easy bag to get into. You know what I'm saying?
Did you drop anything?
We dropped one single called Put Your Body in Motion. It's Put Your Body in Motion by No Strings Attached.
Oh, damn.
Yeah, and I'm talking about Dance Party USA, we was on that, doing that record.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? Jonathan Black, the name of the label was Magnum Records. So Jonathan Black, he was our lawyer at the time, because we was getting ready to get with Luke Skywalker, Luke Records or whatever.
Right.
But we had our lawyer look over the contracts or whatever, and he wound up liking our music, and he started his own label because of us.
Wow.
So he put the music out, and our man Linwood Ross was a producer. He had this big band in this club called Facade in Miami. So yeah, that's what we
USA Dance Express is crazy. I haven't thought about
Party
that.
USA.
Dance Party USA.
You know who owns all of that right now?
Who?
My man Rob Schwartz, Who Mag.
Oh,
Who Magazine.
Wow.
And that's my man. Rob and me is like this, man. That's my guy.
What was your connection? Did you have any connection to Run DMC and those guys in the 80s? Like,
the only connection we had was basically neighborhood connection. Pop and Kim.
Okay.
being out in the parks, you know what I mean? Because
Right.
this is when I was searching for heads to chop off, and Run DMC just came out, you know what I mean? I had this reputation of battling whoever had records out. That's who I started looking for.
Right.
So
Makes sense.
Run DMC, yeah, I wanted to battle and all of that. But then I grew to have a lot of respect for these guys, man, because they paved the way for a lot of cats from Queens, and I had to look at stuff differently. And then, yeah, it was just crazy. But yeah.
I had a conversation with somebody, and they said that if you had to take all the boroughs in a competition and you added up all the money that they've made, that Queens would probably win.
Yeah, absolutely.
Even though there's Brooklyn, there's Jay-Z and Biggie,
That's
and there's a
okay.
lot of artists. Queens has Tribe Called Quest, Run
Yeah,
DMC,
yeah,
LL Cool
yeah.
J, Mobb
Salt
Deep,
and Pepper,
Nas,
yeah.
right?
Keep going.
Queens is
Yeah, we
crazy,
crazy.
town, bro.
Why you think they say
town.
Queens get the
Ja
money?
Rule.
Right,
Ja
Queens
Rule
get
there.
the money. Yeah,
Yeah, 50 Cent, Nicki
Ja Rule,
Minaj.
50. Holy Moses.
Nicki Minaj, come on.
Oh,
Waka
oh,
Flocka.
you hear that name, Fixer?
Waka Flocka Flame.
Fixer hates Nicki
Waka
Minaj.
Flocka. That's right.
Fixer has an insane vendetta against Nicki Minaj. Fixer's on another level with his Nicki Minaj hatred. But yeah, man, I was just wondering that about, Run DMC. And then, so the thing I wanted, obviously everybody talks to you about your affiliation with LL, right?
Yeah, that's my man. It's my dog.
Now, let me ask you something. I want to be really fucking clear. This is not meant for any disrespect whatsoever. This is just historical shit for the sake of hip hop history. Wondering, LL always wore hats, right? Is it true that LL always wore the hats because he ended up fucking up his hair?
I mean, that's a rumor that I heard. He ain't never tell me that was the reason why he wore hats. I mean, when I met L, he was rocking a headband. So, I mean, you see early pictures of him in his books.
Once again, I love LL Cool J so much. This is historical.
That was a lot of rumors going around about
Right.
his hairline being messed up and all of that, and him messing his hair up. I don't know about that. Like I said, when I met him, he was rocking the headband and all of that. We all wore hats, you know what I mean? Kangos. We
Right.
all did it, you know what I
Right,
mean?
the Kango joint.
It is what it is. And if you look at his pictures, he got kid pictures in I Make My Own Rules when he was young,
Right.
you know. Hairline it's a little back, but it ain't bad enough to where people could say he messed it up. It's natural.
I think the
You
first
know.
time we saw his head was in Flavor in Your Ear remix, right?
Not because he still had a fucking a visor on. We saw the top of his head.
You did, yeah. Cause
Yeah, that's it though. He had the visor on.
Probably Deep Blue Sea.
That was it.
Oh yeah, the movie.
Yeah.
The movie.
Yeah.
Looking for his bird.
I'll tell you what. Speaking of LA Posse, the other LA Posse, the California LA
Yeah.
Posse, and shout out to Daryl Pierce too.
Yes, salute.
One of the biggest hip hop memories for me in my life was Bigger and Deffer.
Yeah.
Like there was a lot of records that were huge to me when I was a little kid. That record changed my energy level, my frequency on how like, oh shit, like the bad. Like I remember me and Dwayne, my best friend Dwayne.
Yeah.
We fucking we knew the routines down, like to the video. You know what I'm saying? Like how he
Dances and all
moved,
that.
yeah, just the
Shot
this, yeah,
fit
right,
and all that.
Forget
Yeah.
Oreos, eat Cool J cookies. That record was so important, man, and the whole album was dope. What was it like? Because LL definitely looked up to you. Is that fair to say?
Yeah.
Early.
I mean, we would. You could say that.
Let's just be real. I'm not trying to paint it like he was a fanboy, but I'm just saying
Nah, he wasn't
you
no
were
fan.
somebody who was in the streets more established
I
at
was
the time
already
when he was coming on.
Exactly.
That's fair to say that.
Yeah.
That's fair to say.
Yeah.
So I'm reading the paper. LL's coming up and you're established, and then LL hits, and I've had this happen to me too. You know what I'm saying? LL hits a certain stride. Is there pride there? Is there frustration there? You know what I'm saying? Like, how does Queens feeling? How are legends feeling when LL takes off and goes thermonuclear?
Oh, they was happy, man. What? They was happy. But see, for me, a lot of people thought when I need a beat drop, that was me.
They thought it was your record.
They thought it was me, point blank, period. They thought it was me because, mind you, when me and L first met, our initial meeting, when we finally met, we compared notes. We rapped for about a half an hour in Roller Castle. You know what I mean? And I was already impressed off of, he had the same growl. We had similar cadences. 2 skinny dudes, 2 light-skinned dudes, same age. You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, damn, this dude is dope. I thought I was the only one. You feel me?
Right.
So when we started hanging together, it was like, you know, like me and Veg say, we Batman and Batman. That's how it was with me and Todd.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And so we hung out so much that people got to hear us and things like that. But like you said, I was already like popping in the streets.
Right.
Like
right.
From young, I was outside already. I was still on the come up.
Was he doing the same moves where he's running around trying to battle people? Because that's the school I'm from too. I was trying to travel to other people's places and assert dominance. You know what I'm saying?
That's what I was doing before
Right.
I met him. And he could tell you when we used to hang together, he didn't have to lift for Mike or say nothing because that was my thing. He'd be like, "Get him, Mike." That's what I wanted to do. You feel me? So he didn't really have to. Although he had it where he could have battled.
But he was just more focused on studio and
He was, yeah.
And licking his lips and
Put
shit.
it, nah, yo, you crazy. He wasn't doing that. He wasn't doing that back then. He don't do that around the fellas.
Yo,
you know.
shit. Not only that, but if you can, why the fuck wouldn't you? You know what I'm saying?
This
Like
nigga
if
do
you
that
got it
every
like
damn
that with a
record,
lady.
every damn
Nah,
video.
he didn't do it around the dudes. You know what I'm saying? But where you see LL today is where he wanted to be when we was young.
Okay.
He had this vision.
Manifested
He
that
had
shit.
this discipline.
To be a movie star?
He had that vision
Wow.
early.
Pretty cool.
Everything that he's doing right now, he imagined and envisioned himself being back then. That's how bad he wanted it. That wasn't my goal, though. That wasn't my dream. That was his dream. My dream was to be the nicest MC in the neighborhood.
So LL always knew where he wanted to go.
Yeah, exactly, man. He was disciplined and all of that, man. I mean, this dude would take look at each of the records and look at the label for the address and the phone numbers and all of that, man. He would, you know what I'm saying? He would hop on the bus and train and meet whoever he had to meet. I wasn't with all that, man. I just wanted to use my bus fare to go to Pop and Kim and buy me an ice cold 40 and
Right.
kick it with my boys in the middle of the street rhyming. That was my thing, you know what I mean? But like I said, L, where he is where he dreamt that he would be.
How is your relationship with him now to this day?
We good now, man. I mean, we had our little spurt of, going this way and that way. Because, I mean, my ego wouldn't allow me to let him win like that. You feel me? Ego. And then he got pride. So it's like ego versus pride, you know. And, I initially started taking jabs at him first. That's because, like I said, when he first came out, people used to think that was me. They trying to gas me like he bit my style and he took your style and he ran with it. But like I said, when I first met the brother, he already had it. Like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? But I fed into that because I was in a place, I was in the street.
And you were young too. Let's
And
keep
I was
it real.
young and I'm drinking
Yeah.
40s.
Exactly.
So, and I was competitive. So it was an ego thing versus a pride thing. And, it took me to stop drinking to realize, damn, I could have destroyed a friendship just from the bullshit that I was doing. You know what I mean? Because like a lot of it wasn't called for. You feel me? So
Would you say with drinking, did you have an addiction, do you think? Or was it just something you enjoyed doing?
it's something I enjoyed doing. And I eventually, I got addicted to Old English,
Right.
beer. I wasn't an alcohol drinker. I couldn't handle strong liquor. You know what I mean?
Right.
Hennessy and all. I couldn't handle that. I'd be passed out in the middle of the street and all that. You know what I mean? But
Hennessy.
the beer, that just gave me courage. You know what I mean? It made me, real confident. You feel me? I was an ill freestyler when I was sipping too. Some people might even say I rhymed better when I was drunk back in those days.
What made you cut it off? What was the point where you would just say, fuck this?
Well, they say love make you do crazy things, right? I
Yeah.
effed around and fell in love with a chick upstate. And still with her to this day because I had a choice to make, man. Either I could live the life that I was living and try to, get with this chick, or I could cut out what I was doing and focus on this relationship.
Good for you.
So
man.
I think
That's
I made
dope.
the right choice.
Yeah,
You know what I'm
that's dope.
saying?
That's really dope. That's a really dope thing, man. It's tough too to cut off things that that give us a certain comfort.
Oh, no doubt. No doubt.
That takes a lot of discipline, so that speaks volumes, man.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man.
Yo, I want to go back. I know we diverted away from this, but what was Queens like when you were growing up? What was the area like? Like, what was the feeling?
Man, listen, when I was coming up in Laurelton, Queens, man, it was a neighborhood. It wasn't called the hood then because the neighbors knew each other. We all had neighbors. You know what I'm saying?
Right,
Today they
yeah.
call it the hood because it could be a single family house with 3 families living in the same house and don't nobody know nobody. You know what I'm saying? So what happened to the neighbors? But when I was coming up, this was during the 70s when I was able to go outside. You feel me? And the block was. We had mad kids. It was a mixed block. We had Jamaicans on the block. We had white people on the block. We had Puerto Ricans on the block, and you had your blacks on the block.
Right.
The doors was open during the day. Kids could run in each other's house, and if you did something wrong and somebody's parents saw you doing the wrong thing, they could whoop your behind just like your parents could whoop your behind, and vice versa. Bikes was left outside. Nobody was stealing nothing. Kids was outside playing. We was climbing trees, jumping off of roofs, and had to be in before the street lights and all of that. That's where I came up.
That sounds like a lot better time on Earth.
It was a great time on Earth. The technology wasn't as advanced as it is now. You feel me? So the kids had to go outside and play. It was healthy. You know what I'm saying? Because your cardio and you run in the streets. Nowadays, I mean, these kids are having fun, but they're sitting and watching
It's mentally
tablets
unhealthy
and
nowadays.
They're just doing
We weren't in
this.
Queens, but we did the same shit.
Right.
Out in parks, climbing trees, riding bikes. Kids don't do that anymore.
They don't do it. I remember climbing on the monkey bars before they put the rubber padding down in the playground.
That's right. Asphalt.
You know what I'm
I
saying?
tell my kids all our shit was asphalt and metal. You just get
Yeah,
fucked up
yeah,
all the time.
Even the parks don't even have things that we had. Merry-go-round and seesaws. Do you
They
see
don't have-
one?
no.
They don't exist.
Or the monkey bars.
They don't want to get boo-boos. Can't get boo-boos. So the kids don't have that shit.
Yeah, they don't have the pleasure of getting hurt
Yeah.
and healing.
That's that. You know what? My daughter fell last summer or a couple summers ago, and she had that scab, and she's like, "Oh," I was like, "That's a great thing, man. All
What?
these scabs mean you're living life.
Get a little cocoa
Yeah, you get a
butter
little cut. You get, yeah. All this that means you're living
Yeah.
life. You know what's funny? Because of my age, because I missed out on the 70. Well, 79. I had 10 months.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? What I think what I think of as Queens in the 70s is like Archie Bunker. The houses and the fashion and the way things look.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Depending on what neighborhood you came up in, it was basically just like that.
When I think of Queens in the 80s, I think of McDowell's.
Well,
Oh,
You know what I'm talking about?
that was later 80s.
That's from Coming to America.
Yeah, come on, Hakeem and shit.
Yeah,
classics.
that was in Jamaica, Queens.
Yeah,
too.
right.
Yeah, that's a fact. That's
Classics,
a fact.
man.
McDowell's.
I don't even want to talk about part 2. That shit was
Horrible.
Not it. Bro.
Horrible.
That part 2 is
Coming
not
to
it.
America was the worst. Sorry, Eddie, the worst.
Eddie.
Yo, back in the day when you were young and you starting to become a young man, who was your first celebrity crush? Like, who was the girl?
Man. Oh.
Or a couple.
Shaka Khan.
No. What
Let
was
him
her
cook.
name? Linda Carter. Wonder Woman.
Oh, yeah,
Wow,
she's bad.
that's a great one.
Then it was Jeannie from I Dream of Jeannie.
Barbara
too.
Eden.
Barbara Eden.
Yo, you remember
Barbara Eden's fine.
what was that? What was her Harper Valley PTA was a good show too. That she was in that. It was a show.
was?
And because she would dress on that.
She was fine.
She was kind of known as like a town hoe. You know what I'm saying? She would dress wild on Harper Valley PTA.
Then another one of my crushes, Pinky Tuscadero.
What's that from?
I don't know.
That was from Happy Days, Fonzie's girl.
Oh, word! I don't
Pinky
remember her.
Tuscadero.
I gotta look that up.
Yeah. All you got to do is look up Pinky Tuscadero, or look when the Fonz was in the demolition
Girl.
derby.
Right. Okay.
Remember the demolition derby?
Yeah, I remember that, but I just don't remember the girl.
Pinky Tuscadero.
I'll be honest, I never watched Happy Days, man.
Yo,
Loved it.
she was like the female Fonz, man.
Damn, she was gangster with it.
She was cool because remember
Yeah.
Fonzie was cool.
Cool as fuck. Yeah.
So-
Hit the jukebox. Badoom.
Yeah. Hey.
Yo, you know what's I've said this before, but two of the two women who I knew I was first attracted to was early 80s was Susanna Hoffs from the Bangles. When she said walk like an Egyptian and she looked this way and that way, I was like a little boy watching MTV at my aunt's crib, and I'm like, what is that I just felt? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then you know who else too? Elvira.
Oh,
Just based on the titties alone, bro. She had her titties out all the time. That's why anybody felt Elvira in those days.
But look, when I got a little older, my crush was Miss Huxtable.
Oh, Miss
yeah.
Huxtable was fly,
Felicia
yeah.
Rashad.
Yeah,
Word.
Miss Huxtable.
Matter of fact, you said my first crush. Wait a minute.
Yup.
Now, this wasn't a famous person, but she was on. We had Sesame Street. We had
Electric Company.
No, remember Zoom? You gotta zoom, I zoom.
I know what it is, but I didn't watch it live.
There was a girl on Zoom that I had a crush on. All right, word up. That was the first one.
I think mine might have been Vanity from.
Oh yeah,
from Last
Vanity
Dragon.
6.
Vanity was bad.
Yeah, Vanity was fire,
That
bro.
was
Apollonia and Vanity. Vanity. Yo, I had the Vanity tape, and I remember being a little too younger than I should have, listening to that shit on the bus, listening to the Vanity tape.
That's right, because
if
that
a girl
song-
answers, don't hang up. Remember that shit?
I remember she had that Nasty Girl.
Nasty Girl.
that was in Beverly Hills Cop. Remember that shit?
Yeah.
Vanity was bad.
Oh, was she? Did Vanity do Pretty Little Mess or something like that?
I don't
Talking
know
about
what
like getting skeeted on. She's such a little pretty little mess on my dress. She's talking about being skeeted on. I wasn't stupid.
Edgy.
That's bad.
She was edgy.
She was wild, bro. Vanity was a wild girl.
Fine as hell.
Yeah. So you were down with Biz.
Well, I wasn't down with him, but we rocked in the same park jams.
Okay.
I mean, we was young. We wasn't making records yet, but we
Right.
was rocking the parks. Because we got to remember, he was an ill DJ too.
Yeah. Of course. Yeah.
And Biz was a hip hop historian.
Big was a crate digger, bro. Biz was crazy. Biz's knowledge of vinyl and records and breaks, just his musical knowledge was. I don't think a lot of people truly understand Biz's musical knowledge, man.
Yeah, Biz was a beast with all of that, man. But I know he was a real dope DJ, and he used to keep these park jams hype, man. Matter of fact, that's how I met Redman, through Bismarck. He brought him out to Queens one day.
Oh, wow.
And Redman did his thing. That's when we first got cool. And shout out to Biz, man. Biz,
Well, back in those park jams, was Biz on the mic too while he was DJing?
He was always DJing.
Okay.
And he might do a little 1-2-1-2 with the, you know what I mean, with the human beatbox.
Right.
He even rapped too. He rapped. Yeah, he was
In
doing
those
it
days?
all. Yeah,
Right.
he was doing it all, man.
Man, I love Biz.
Biz, yeah.
Biz was I never met Biz. I never saw him in person. Never saw him in person. And he was such a larger than life character to me that it was almost like Biz was like a superhero or like a fictional character to me. You know what I'm saying? Because he was just so interesting and unique and crazy looking. And I never met him.
And he did fun hip hop too for us kids when we were younger.
Let me tell you
Picking boogers.
Yo, let me
Classic
tell you
show.
this.
The Dragon.
I'm gonna tell you this story about Biz, man. I remember being on Jamaica in the 165th Street Mall, the Coliseum block. Bismarck just left Paul C.
Okay.
They just finished working on the Friends record.
Wow.
It's Just a Friend record.
Just a Friend, right.
He said and I remember him telling me to get in the car. In the truck. He got something he wanted us to hear. I forgot who I was with. It might have been Lord KCB. But anyway, we was on our way back to Laurelton. So Bismarck is playing Just a Friend.
Whew.
And we're cracking up. We're like, yo, he's singing.
Yeah, right? Yeah.
Yo, we dying laughing, but the record was so dope. We was like, yo. So he drove us straight up Merrick Boulevard, straight to 219th Street, straight to 134th Road to my man Mark the 40 Killer's crib. Not Mark the 45 King.
Yeah.
Mark the 40 Killer is one of my guys from the block. And we go in the crib. He's playing this tape for everybody, and everybody, we rocking to it. Like, yo, my boys is bugging. So then we leave, right? We leave because we had a talent show to go to at Springfield High School with my brother Lot Picasso, going to support him. Next day, we get these calls from Bismarck on the regular telephone. He calling my Nana's house, mad as hell that somebody got his tape. He was furious.
Oh, the tape with the song on it.
Yeah, that tape he was playing. The tape was missing. So listen, man. Yo, everybody that was at 40 Killer's crib, we had to, yo, you got that tape? No, you got that tape? Blah, blah, blah. So I give it about 3 days later. Bismarck calls us up and tells us he found the tape. In the truck. Made us cut friends off and all of that. We ain't cut nobody off, but we was upset, man. We like, damn, he just let us hear the joint. Now he's mad at us.
I know, right?
Blah, blah, blah. Weird. But then he found the tape in the truck. So,
yo, that's what we talked about that before. That's a bad habit of mine. Every time something goes missing, I automatically think of every person, no matter how close I am with them, I think of every person who was just in my house, and I get that suspicious detective look on my face. Yeah. I'm like, this motherfucker took my shit, bro.
I didn't blame my own kids. I blame my own kids. Like, yo, my son stole this shit.
Right. I know what it is. It's childhood trauma of people stealing shit. You know what I'm saying? But I get like that. No matter who the fuck it is, I could win the Powerball one day, be a multi-gazillionaire, and if somebody came at my crib, I'd be like, that motherfucker took my fucking, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, god damn it. Motherfucker took that spatula. He knows I like the way that shit looks. You know what I'm saying?
My damn scrambled eggs. He took my spatula.
Yo, listen, I'll tell you what, that Just a Friend, I don't know who the fuck mixed that. That shit was, that drum break, I've never heard that Lee Dorsey break crack like that.
Paul C.
Wasn't that one of his biggest hits, but he didn't get royalties off of it?
Paul C, I did not know this whole time. No. He got sued.
Nobody
because
beats the Biz.
That was the one?
From the Wiz. Remember the music store?
I didn't know if Biz didn't get that, but I know Biz got sued for Alone Again, naturally, because he sampled, what's his name? Gilbert O'Sullivan, right? Alone Again, which is fire. That joint is so hard.
I don't remember that one.
It's like almost like part two, because they didn't let it blow up, but it's like part two of Just a Friend. That's how good it is.
Oh, okay, but didn't he have trouble with the Wiz, the music store, the Wiz, when he had nobody?
Can you look that up?
The Biz?
I'm not sure.
There was
one of his big hits.
Just a Friend, that Lee Dorsey break, that shit has never cracked like it did on that record.
Markie produced the record. Paul C engineered the session to get the sound correct. That's what I meant by Paul C having that ear.
Right.
He had an ear that was incredible.
Where are these early demo tapes at now?
What demo tapes?
Just a Friend and all that. What happened?
Somebody probably stole it.
Somebody ultimately got it.
They melted in somebody's car. You know what I'm saying? They fucking zoomed out.
It wasn't Nobody Beats the Biz he got sued for, but I know it was O'Sullivan.
No, it was Alone Again. Naturally, that's what he got sued for.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, there was. So you being out of Queens, and I know it's different areas. Nas comes out.
Yeah.
What's your reaction? What's the word on the street when Nas comes out?
Nas was a breath of fresh air, man. Nas was young and he was talking that shit.
Yeah.
Like, he literally painted pictures with his pen. Man. I'm talking about just the projects, the way he rapped about the projects and being in them.
So now I'm jetting through the building lobby, and it was full of children. Probably couldn't see as high as I be.
I could see it.
New York state of mind, right?
I could see it. Like what he was spitting, I could see it. But for him to be so young, and yo.
Well, we had Danny Hastings here who did his photos, and he was talking about how young he was at that time period.
Yeah, I'm telling you.
18 years old.
Yo, he was
taking the train place to place.
Yeah, but I'm just saying when he dropped, man, it just changed the whole scenery of the Queens hip hop.
The whole sound of New York, I think.
Yeah, he bought that, man. He did his thing, man.
Queens was incredible, man. Queens was just must have been cracking off its ass when Nas came. Everybody was losing their minds when Nas came out.
Yeah,
waiting for it.
That was it.
Yeah, he did that, man. He did that. Proud of Nas.
Then another big paradigm shift was Mob coming out.
Yeah.
Right.
Matter of fact, Prodigy bought a crib around the way in Lawton.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? So
Yep.
yeah, salute to Mob Deep.
Who's besides yourself? Who's out at Lawton? Who's out
I
at?
think I'm the only guy. Drez has family in Lawton.
Okay.
Don Newkirk came out of Lawton.
Don Newkirk. Okay.
Newkirk. His mom's, Miss Newkirk, they had a store on 228th Street and Merrick Boulevard, the Milk Farm. Don Newkirk's mom's own that. You know what I'm saying?
Wow.
So Don came out of Lawton.
What?
Yeah,
Clientele
he
Brothers.
said the Clientele Brothers, but we talking about Clientele Brothers are my mentors.
Okay.
These guys were the Clientele Brothers. You had the Rapomatical 5. You had the Professional 5.
Rapomatical is it?
Yeah, Rapomatical, man. Chucky Chuck and them. Dope. Kool Rocksky bought a house in Lawton on 224th Street. No, not Kool Rocksky, Buffy. God rest
Okay.
his soul. Buff lived
Rest in peace.
Yeah, he lived in Lawton for a while. You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
as far as, I carried Lawton on my back from forever.
What was closest? What neighborhood was closest to Lawton? Like,
Lawton was in the center of it all, man. I mean, you had Long Island right next door, so you had the EPMDs over there.
yep.
You do a hop, skip, and a jump to Hollis, to where Run DMC
Run
and them is
DMC,
at.
right.
You know what I mean? Right now, if I take a walk past Rochdale Village, that's 50 Cent in them's area, Lloyd Banks and all of them from over there. So Lawton was right there. You know what I mean?
Right.
Nas or 50.
Nas or 50. One thing I don't do is I don't compare. I don't compare anyone. I respect everybody's art because everybody is different. Nobody's trying to sound like each other, So I respect them all. I don't have a top 5. I do have a top 5, but it's biased based on motivation and inspiration, not skills.
Okay, well, what's your top 5?
Well, my top 5 is Eddie O.J. from the Clientele Brothers. I'm going to do it in order.
Okay.
Grandmaster Caz, because he started me with the pen game.
Right.
Kumo D, he inspired me to become the battler that I was. Eddie O.J. from the Clientele Brothers, because everybody in Lawton wanted to be just like this dude. I call him the Black Fonz. And it's funny we was talking about Fonzie.
Right.
You know what I mean? I call him the Black Fonz. He had the
Black Fonz isn't a bad rap name either, by the way. That's
yeah,
kind of hard.
yeah. Eddie O.J., I call him the Black Fonz.
That's dope.
Spell it BLAQ.
Right.
Fonz.
Okay. Right.
Feel me? But and Will Seville from the Clientele Brothers. He's Eddie O.J.'s partner. But boom, these brothers. These are my mentors to this day. You feel me? And last but not least, Mr. Cool J.
Oh.
That's dope.
See, I base it all on those that inspired me and motivated me earlier to become who I am, and those 5 are the ones who did that for me.
I'm gonna say something. I think this is my favorite top 5 I've ever heard for that reason, what he's saying. Because there's so much speculation about who should like who and how dare you leave this person off and that person off. But what matters the most is what the human being who's hearing that and translating that is hearing. And his shit altered his whole course and changed his life. The biggest
Absolutely.
impacts on his life.
Well, yeah, it's his
That's
time
the
period,
truest
too.
top 5.
Like ours is 15, 16-year-old. It's in the 90s. So we're probably going to find our top 5 there. Yours, 15, 16-year-old, was these guys.
Absolutely.
Right. And they were some of them were hyper local, some of them were
Yep,
legendary.
right.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? And then
Absolutely.
somebody who was even, came a little bit after him was LL,
Right,
around
right.
the same
Yeah,
time.
he
You know
came
what I'm
But the
saying?
ones that were later, I thought you'd say, like DMX or somebody. But they were way later.
But see, what it is I never pit MCs against MCs. Like I never liked to say this one
Nas
is better.
versus Jay,
Yeah,
right.
I don't like that. I like to respect the artist for his craft. Not because you're sounding like this other guy, but this one sounds. I don't do that. I respect the art. I know what it takes to do this. Apathy, you know what it takes
Right.
to do this. So I want people to respect my craft for my craft, not because I remind them of somebody.
I love that.
That's why I don't do the comparisons. We're supposed to have unity in the hip hop community. There should never be a division, a separation. This one is better than that one. Nah, let's respect everybody's art.
Right.
As
I feel
a
you.
whole.
Yeah, that's
that's
right.
that's
That's
how I look at it.
Much
Yeah.
love.
I love that. I really love that, man. Yo, the initial way you and I met were from the podcast when I had MC Search on the podcast.
Oh, right.
And the thing that drives me insane is I said,
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
what?
Oh, he
gas
just gave
face?
the gas face.
Oh, the gas face.
I'm sorry.
You're fucking
Right over
funny.
them. I didn't even know. I'm sorry. I apologize, everybody.
No, it's all good. Keep that in there. I hated that I said I told you this is when we talked. I had a dad moment because I've always known your name is Mikey Destruction.
Right.
Because there was a time period where I was thinking about producing a track for you with DOC, Causing Much Destruction, sample. But I had a dad moment, a dad brain from being exhausted and being a brain fart, an old man.
That's okay.
And I said devastation because I wasn't thinking.
Right.
And then search, the issue was search.
Repeated it.
Right.
See, I wasn't upset with you
Right.
because that happens. I got it.
Right.
But the simple fact that instead of him correcting you and saying the proper name, he repeated the wrong name. And he knows me. You know what I'm saying? That's what I was offended by. And then
And then other things in the story.
absolutely.
What were some of the things in the story that Search said that were not accurate?
Well, he said that we were in California doing a press run and an album release party and stuff like that. That wasn't true. We were in Los Angeles to do Soul Train and, a couple of radio interviews. There was no party specifically for us. There was no party or anything like that. He was also, he was managing Nas at the time, which is much love to Nas, but he was using our time to promote what Nas had going on instead of using that time.
I don't think he was managing Nas. I think that maybe he had helped Nas get some type of situation.
Well, he was doing something with Nas, but he was promoting Nas on our time.
Right.
You feel me? So,
especially when he's supposed to be at Wild Pitch at the time.
yeah, he was at Wild Pitch. He was like the vice president of marketing.
Yeah.
So that kind of bugged us. Now, he talked about being in a car with a program director from a radio station in front of a club where a young man pulled out a Mossberg shotgun. I was standing right next to the dude that pulled out the shotgun. I don't know what kind of shotgun it was, but I was standing right there. Search was nowhere in sight, especially with a female or something. I don't remember that. I remember Redman being there. I remember Redman in his car because that's who I rode to the spot with. And I remember Redman saying, F that, I got records to make, blah, blah, blah. And he left. Okay?
Nice.
He bounced. That's okay.
Yeah.
My crew, K-Cut and Sir Scratch, were way across the street, somewhere else. Now, I'm standing outside next to this guy with the knapsack and somebody else in front of him. So when he pulled that shotgun out, he asked the other person, was he down with Daz or whatever? I don't know if he was talking about Daz from the Dog Pound or what he was talking about, but I didn't have nothing to do with it. He was talking to the other gentleman. The gentleman said, no, homeboy put that thing away, and he bounced. Now, I'm the only one that wound up going into the club because I was outside. I'm already here. No harm is done to anybody. Now, it wasn't like the crowd scattered.
Yeah, right.
I went inside the club because Bismarck was inside DJing. So the first thing I said when I got in the club, the Biz, let's do it like we do it in Queens back in the parks. Me and Bismarck got busy that night on the microphone doing what we do. Now, the other issue that I had was when we got back to New York, he said something about this drama that broke out up at Wild Pitch Records. It's a bunch of calamity that went down that day. Now, here's the truth. This is what happened. We had a press conference that day. We had all of the magazines sitting around like, y'all got your pads out and all of that stuff. Word Up, Right On, Source, all sitting around the table. You got the group here. I'm here with K-Cut, Sir Scratch, me, a bag of 40s. I got the Twin Towers with me, Greg and Jamal. You know what I mean? And we're doing this press conference. Search is in his office or whatever. Stu Fine is in his office. Now we hear the commotion in the hallway coming toward us. So the commotion was K-Cut and Sir Scratch mom, Miss McKenzie, and her cousin. They came in there like, where the is Stu Fine? Where the fuck is Stu Fine? They wanted to see Stu Fine. I don't know for what. To this day, I still don't know what it was about. All I know is she was raising all types of hell. And I'm like, okay, flashback. Here's the flashback. When I first got down with Main Source, and I went up to the record company for the first time. Now, mind you, I didn't sign the Wild Pitch. I signed the Main Source production. MC Search knew me already. He pulls me into his office and he tells me, I'm going to hook you up with the same lawyer as I hooked Large Professor up with because I don't trust these guys and I got to look out for my boy, whatever. But here's what rubbed me wrong. He said, but if anything that I'm saying gets out of this office, I'm going to deny everything. And remember, I know people. That right there, I took it as a threat. The only reason I didn't snap right then and there is because I just got down with this group, and this could be a nice opportunity to take it to the next level, which I really didn't care about anyway because I just wanted to be nice. You feel me? So all of that extra shit, I didn't care about it, but I'm going to chill out because I don't want to make them look bad either. You know, that rubbed me wrong. So then we go through the California stuff and all of that, and now we turning up in the office. So now I'm like, okay, flashback, let's get that searched. I'm telling the Twin Towers, let's get it searched. No, they did not hang out with Supreme from Brooklyn. We don't know a Supreme from Brooklyn. Only Supreme we knew at that time of that stature was Supreme from the Supreme team in Queens. But we didn't hang out with him. So that was false. His wife was there when we kicked that door down to his office, and his wife was pregnant, right? I don't know if she broke her water and all of that, but her being there is what stopped me or made me stop the Twin Towers from grabbing him and doing whatever we was going to do because she's pregnant, she's innocent. From the cloth that we're cut, no women, no children.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
But I wanted to put the fear of God in him because I remembered what he said to me.
Right.
You know what I mean? So that's what happened. The gun coming out of the panties, he said the moms pulled the gun out of her panties, fabricated. He was not in the office with Stu Fine.
By the way, very charismatic storytelling. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And he
like very entertaining.
He just, and it was crazy. And listen, for years, I never touched on that story. Out of respect for Search, out of respect for his child that was born, and out of respect for his woman. I never touched on that story. But to hear him tell that story and the way he told it triggered me.
You know, I'll say this. This is what's one thing I learned being around Search. I feel, and this is my opinion, I feel his memory is very unreliable because even down to the smallest things, like we talked and on multiple occasions, he would say the Main Source single is called What You Want.
Right, when it was What You Need.
What You Need. What You Want is a 9 record. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
and
What You Want,
if it was
9?
just that, if somebody, you know, once again, brain farts, if somebody slips, that's fine. But over and over again, and then just certain things.
And just certain things. And let me be clear, party people, there's no beef with Search and me.
And you.
The reason I addressed it the way that I addressed it through lyrics is because he called us whack. You MC Search, I'm MC Mikey D. An MC doesn't call an MC whack without breaking out the swords, the microphones.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So I gave him what? I gave him 48 hours to just fix it. He could have reached out to me, yo, Mike, my bad. He could have went publicly and said, yo, I messed up just a little bit on the story. Here's the truth. I gave him that grace period.
Do you think that's what changed it? Because had he clarified himself and said, I was wrong, you would have been okay. But he stood on business and said that's how the story went.
I think for the simple fact that he ignored me, like this request is coming from a nobody, triggered me. And it triggered the destruction in me. You know what I'm saying? And like I said, it's not a street beef.
Right.
I don't want people to think that I have animosity toward him where I want to see him hurt. That's not the case.
Right.
It's not the case. I'm a
Some
rapper.
hip hop shit.
I rhyme.
It's some hip hop shit.
I rhyme, and that's the way that I handled it
Right.
through hip hop. So by him not responding, I respect that. By him, if he would have responded, I would have respected that too. But it's over now, so there's no apologies necessary. I said what I said. He said what he said. Now you're hearing my side of the story, and it's water under the bridge. I got nothing against him. Definitely nothing against Third Base, because Pete Nice is my man.
Shout out to Pete Nice.
That's
What's
my
up?
man. Eclipse is my man.
Shout out to Eclipse.
Shout
Love
out
Eclipse.
to Van Silk and all of them, man. And it's water under the bridge, man. I'm done with it.
Speaking of that time period and moving on, like I said earlier, first time I heard you was on Main Source, What You Need. What a fucking record, bro.
Thank you, bro.
Even, I just posted a picture of us on Instagram, and I'm just the first of all, here's the thing that was going on with me at that time when that record came out. I was starting to become an MC, right? In hip hop, you know how that age is. Around 14 years old, 15 years old, nothing's more important to you than music.
Right.
At that time.
Facts.
That is the foundation of your whole being at that point. How you deal with girls, how you deal with your homies, what you do, what you listen to, it's your escapism, it's what you focus on. Nothing is bigger than music in your life when you're a teenager, right?
Right.
I had a radio show. I was lucky enough to get brought into University of Connecticut, UConn, 91.7 WHUS.
Yeah.
We got serviced these records. I get goosebumps thinking about the way opening up a Technique 1200 smells. And it has a certain smell to it. I don't know if it's whatever they use.
Like that rubber piece.
Yeah,
on the,
something. And so I remember there was 2 records I got at the same day. It was UMC's Time to Set It Straight.
My boys.
Right. Shout out Cool Kim.
My guys.
Hell yeah. And then Main Source, What You Need Is the Source.
Yeah.
I didn't realize yet what was going on, by the way, because there's not enough information out at that time, remember?
I'm telling you.
And at the radio station, we get the records early. So even if the story came out in the Source later, I didn't know what was going on yet. I expect to hear Large Pro on this, right? But however, fucking already, I'm like, love it. Classic. Just that is one of the songs that cements that time period to me. Then I hear you rapping.
Yeah.
I'm like, what is this, a guest appearance? I'm listening.
Yeah.
No Large Pro. And I'm like, I don't understand what the fuck's happening. And it was dope. You killed it. It was dope, but I did not understand. And I was like, is that one of the DJs? And you said Mikey D. And I'm like, no, it's not one of the DJs. It's Mikey D. And like I said, because of the time period, because I lacked technology and magazines, I wasn't familiar with you yet.
Absolutely.
But it was dope. Got the whole story later. Didn't give a fuck. I didn't care.
Yeah.
Large Pro went on to do Large Pro shit. Was still a fan of Large Pro. Still.
Absolutely.
Matter of fact, the only thing I was annoyed with is that no more Main Source shit came out. Another album didn't come out.
That was the last one.
Man, listen.
Pretty much.
I was so disappointed behind the way things went. You know what I mean? Like, the media didn't give me a chance. The Main Source fans didn't give me a chance.
Were people critical of you because you think it was just backlash of Large Pro?
They were super critical because the way the media put it out there was I was taking Large Professor's place. I was replacing Large Pro, and that wasn't the intention.
Right.
If you listen to the first bars in What You Need Is the Source, I said, here comes Mikey D with the Main Source. The Main Source. I also thought that I was going to be one of those features, the way Nas came through, Main Source,
Right.
you know, Joe Fatal and all of them at Live at the Barbecue. I thought I was one of those guys. You heard?
Yep.
And things didn't go that way. So people kind of pit us against Large Pro, not knowing that Large Pro went on to do Large Pro things. He wanted a solo career. He didn't want to be in the group no more. And that's cool. I don't know what transpired between them before I got there. I still don't know. That's on them.
I don't think anybody knows.
That's what I'm
Tribe
saying.
Called Quest, he said, fuck them 2 DJs.
He said that.
That was it.
He said that. That's cool. Okay. What happened? Like, you know what I mean?
Paul also eventually had you on a record.
Pump your fist like this because
Right.
Paul was my man. And remember, my partner, Paul C.
Shut up, Large Professor.
Oh, much love to the Extra P. You got to remember, my partner, Paul C., was Large Professor's mentor.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
there's that. But as far as the Main Source thing, I don't think I was given a fair shot the first go around, and it's cool. So for years, I took that on the chin, like, you know what I mean? And then me and K Cut stayed tight. And thanks to MC Search, he reignited something in us, both. You know what I'm saying? Because
At that time or recently because of this
just
shirt.
recently,
Because of this shit.
because K Cut wasn't feeling the music scene no more. You know, I was doing my own thing with Herb Middleton and other producers, just doing mature hip hop. Like, I didn't want to do the street stuff no more because I felt, you know, I'm growing up now. I got more to talk about. Let me try this. But when Search did what he did, and he just ignited this new energy, reignited energy. You know what I'm saying? So K Cut reached out to me like, yo, Mike, what we gonna do about this? You know, I said, we're gonna give him 48 hours to get it right. But if he don't get it right, you better have a track for me because this is what we're gonna do.
Right, this is where we're going.
So that Search and Destroy track was the first time me and K Cut, we worked together in years, and it just made us not want to stop anymore. So now we're gonna do a new Main Source project.
Fire.
I'm taking the reins. I'm not saying that the doors are closed for Large Professor, but people need to understand Main Source is a brand. It's not a person. When Large Professor left, Main Source was still the brand. Large Professor took his own brand and he left. This is Large Professor. This is Main Source. I'm Mikey D. This is Main Source. I rock with Main Source. You know what I mean? And this door right here is wide open for Large Professor to rock with Main Source. There's no beef with me and Large Professor. There's no beef with me and K Cut. But if those two have beef as grown men, they need to handle that. I'm the big brother. I try to be the voice of reasoning.
Do you know if they've squashed it all over the years or it's just
I don't know. I don't really know because I don't like to talk about it because I don't want to ruffle no feathers on
Right.
either side. You know, when I'm talking to K Cut, we don't talk about Large Professor. You know, whenever I see Large Professor, we don't talk about K Cut or none of that.
Well, that tells me I don't think things are ironed over then.
Yeah, that's on them.
Right,
So
right.
whatever they got going on is on them. But Main Source is still going to work. We're still going to work. You know
Hopefully,
what I'm saying?
Large Professor comes in.
It would
you said
be,
the doors are open.
The doors
so
are wide open,
The doors
man.
are open.
And me and K Cut, we talked about that. You know what I'm saying? What if Large Pro want to jump on? Man, listen.
Yeah.
More than welcome. Welcome home, brother.
I love Large Pro, man. Love it.
Yeah, that's
Great.
my man.
Right.
You know, so
You know what I love about Large Pro is hip hop personified, bro.
Yeah.
It's just he's just so absolute
Yeah.
locked in hip hop.
damn DJ, damn, he was pop locking, damn graffiti artist and a rapper.
Takes
he
it
covered
so
the four.
seriously too
He
with
covered
rapping.
all
And,
four.
yeah, he takes the craft very seriously.
So I would definitely put the energy out there for Large Professor to participate in the new project. man.
It'd be a great comeback album too.
I think it would be the ultimate comeback album.
I'll tell you,
I
you know what?
agree.
Here's what I think. Here's what I think.
Yeah.
Nas did something beautiful where Nas was giving legends a platform with
Mass
the mass
appeal.
appeal shit.
Absolutely.
However, only 2 of those I feel, or actually 3, counting Nas and Preem. I feel like only 3 of those really resonated with me and a lot of hip hop fans, right? I think the Mobb Deep, the De La, and the Preem and Nas did good. The other joints, that's not to disrespect those other legends. God bless them. Yeah, God bless them. And also, man, are they so important? They are the heads of.
Oh, sorry.
They are the what you call it? The monument, the
Mount Rushmore.
Mount Rushmores. These guys are the Mount Rushmores of hip hop. You know what I'm saying? And they're so important. But my point is, what hip hop needs is a something exciting, a boost of adrenaline, like Main Source, fucking rocking with Large Pro again, rocking with you,
Yeah, be
and it coming out fire.
It would be fire. It would be so dope, and it's what's needed right now. Like, this is us embracing the culture of hip hop and not gravitating to the genre of rap.
The culture needs it right now.
It needs it desperately. And it needs it on some good energy, not no beef energy, the past is the past. We've outgrown the past. You know what I'm saying?
30 plus years.
If someone wronged you in the past and you're not over it yet, then that's a you thing.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You can't let it happen again. And by now, we all know the business. If it comes to a matter of somebody getting jerked back then, we know what not to do now as adults, man. So it's time to let bygones be bygones and embrace what can happen tomorrow, man.
Or maybe Mass Appeal makes it happen. Or
And
something.
that would be dope, man. I'm all for it. I'm with whatever. But I'm not this time. I'm not going to be quiet about Main Source.
All right.
I'm part of Main Source. I'm claiming that.
All right.
And it is what it is.
Word up.
I got to do a fucking freestyle over What You Need, man. I got to rock that. You know what I'm saying?
Dope.
That beat, oh my God, I got to rock that, man. That's
I might
crazy.
use that in my instrumental for a background for a food review.
Let's do it. Let's do it. Let's do it.
I'm going to
That's a
search
dope
that up.
idea.
That's what I'm going to
Yeah,
do.
but-
Matter of fact, I got to send you a new video, for this, just for you. I'll let you.
Okay. All right, bet. And then put it out there. And then I got to rock that on my radio show too. Yo, let me know about the Main Source album, man. You know what I'm saying?
You know something? Hey, yo, K-Cut, man. We need Apathy on this album, man.
I'm ready, bro.
We need Apathy on this album. He's nice.
Let's
I'm
do
ready
it.
and
Let's do
locked
it.
in, bro.
do it.
Let's absolutely go. Because that's some rerun shit for us.
I
But
hate it.
it's not like I grew up during the time of Bonanza. None of us did.
You like MASH too, don't you?
I liked MASH, yeah.
I hated MASH. MASH was
I know,
the
I know.
worst.
I liked it though because I watched it with my family. You know what else I like?
Anxiety
You know
from
what?
that.
You know what I'd be making my fucking kids watch at bedtime? Because all this YouTube shit, all this wild shit. When my kids, I go, you got one option. You can either shut the TV off or you watch Little House on the Prairie.
Oh, my God. I'd
Yup.
shut the TV off real quick.
Hell yeah.
I'd shut
That
it
was
off.
the
I'm going to
worst.
sleep, Dad.
Yo, me too. Yeah, no, it's 6 o'clock, Dad.
Yeah.
Like,
And MASH
bedtime.
used to drive me crazy.
MASH.
When I was young, MASH was the last show that would come
Yeah,
on
yeah,
before
yeah,
the
yeah.
night.
Before the flag.
Yeah.
Right. You hear
MASH came on at 11:30.
Yo, you hear that
I was-
guitar?
Yes.
All of a sudden you hear
Oh, you knew it's bedtime. Like, go time, have a bed, guys.
Yeah, yeah.
You knew.
I miss that about culture where like life was quiet for a second. Like the flag would come on, the TV would go. Then you remember it would go beep, right? And that was it. You just shut the TV off. You didn't have no options. You're not like, oh, yo, I just found the dopest show of all time and now I'm going to binge watch it till 4 a.m. You know what I'm saying? That was it.
Yeah, but wait a minute now.
Okay.
You forget. See, you younger than me.
Right.
When when Video Music Box first came on, they used to come on at 11:30 p.m. and they were an hour long, but they came on the UHF channel.
Oh, the
The
UHF.
channel
You
U
had to-
channel.
you had to
Right.
And then you
switch.
had to go to 58 or 59.
Right.
And they came on. So
Right.
that's after the
Right. Those were the major networks, right? The ones with
that went off at midnight. Yeah, yeah.
I miss that though. There's something about that that's nice.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? The TV station shuts down. It's like the world goes to bed. It's like, all right, enough of this shit. You know what I'm saying?
That's a fact.
And we complained about cable costing too much money. Now we have 25 apps. With,
I know.
Man.
I know.
Man, when I was coming up, we didn't have cable.
I know, true. Cable was free, right?
I ain't gonna tell y'all how old I am.
Cable
no
didn't
more.
exist. Cable
Didn't
didn't
exist.
exist.
Wasn't
Right.
even thinking about cable.
Nope.
Now
It
you have
was-
25 apps of TV.
They had they were finagling the antenna on the roof.
Hell
You know
yeah.
what I'm saying?
What?
The rabbit ears and shit.
On the TV and
Right.
with the aluminum foil at the tips.
Yeah, I'm part of that too.
And the device grips to turn the channel.
Yep. To turn the channel.
Because the
Black
handle
and
broke.
white.
Because the handle broke.
And I'll tell you, you know what too? I tried to tell somebody I'm so old that we couldn't afford VCRs. We had to rent them from the video store if we wanted to use them, and they was top loaders. You put it in
Top loader, yep.
like that, and they were like this, bro. Like your dad had to carry that
Yeah,
shit.
you talking about the VHS or the Betamax?
Not Beta, VHS.
Beta was
VHS.
before Beta.
Yeah. I remember
right,
Beta too.
VHS.
Right.
Yeah, we used
Beta was actually a better quality too.
yeah.
Yep.
Was it?
It was a better quality version. But they tried to do like Sony PlayStation. They tried to make it all proprietary. Is that what it is?
Yeah.
So you could only like buy certain things from them. No,
Yeah.
it wasn't open like VHS.
You know what I never got into was laser. I don't know where we're wasting the time
Laserdisc?
talking about this shit. Laserdisc.
That's
Yo, I love you, brother. Thank
love you
man.
more, man.
Much
Appreciate
love, man.
you.
I love having you here. It means that I love chilling with you guys today. You know what I'm saying? What a blessing. So I appreciate
Thank you for coming through, my brother.
Salute. Yo,
Appreciate it.
all love.
God is good, man.
Hey, yo, this guy's energy is just like Big Veg, and I can't stand him.
Yo, listen. I met him like 5 years ago. This is Mikey D and I. So, today I'm going to have you sign this if you don't mind.
Oh, absolutely.
I
Absolutely.
appreciate that, my brother. Before you go.
Don't sign it with that one. Let's get a better,
Let's get a
better,
better. How
one.
about, do we have some gold ones over there?
Anyway, y'all, we the fuck up out of here. Shorecast will be here next time. We got the legendary Mikey D representing Queens. Y'all know what it means.
Mikey D, thank you for coming, my brother.
Yeah.
Much love, much love.
All right, y'all. Peace until next time.
Peace.